How they caught famous serial killers, Part 1, Ted Bundy. Bundy's thing was to use his charm, speaking skills, and educated demeanor to lure people into his trap. At times he would put his arm in a sling or walk on crutches to give his victims a false sense of security. You would think, how harmful can a man be in crutches, dressed up in a suit, and even driving a cute car? That's why he was so hard to catch, because he just didn't fit the profile of a serial killer who did disgusting things to people the moment they died and after. Probably should have been caught much earlier than he was. After all, when young women went out and never came back, witnesses will come forth and say they seen a man lurking around, a man with one arm in a sling, a man that drove a VW Bug. 22-year-old Brenda Carol Ball was last seen talking to a guy in a car park who had brown hair and his arm in a sling. Soon after, Susan Elaine Rancourt went missing, never to return. After this, two people came forward about being approached by a man who had his arm in a sling, who asked him for help putting books into his car, VW Beetle that he drives. That right there was the #1 method that he used. And on June 11, 1974, University of Washington student Georgianne Hawkins went missing, and her body would never be found. But that she had been with her boyfriend and left after midnight. Walking back to her sorority house, she ran into a friend driving past in a car. Then they started talking, and witnesses will come forth saying that they seen a man lurking around in the alleyway, and with his arm in a sling. More abductions began to happen, more murders, even more attempted abductions. Disappearances began to get reported in the media. Here's where things started to get crazy. A woman named Elizabeth Clifford, who used to date Ted Bundy back in the day, put two and two together. At this point in time, they were still dating. Not only called the King County cops to tell them that she thought she had been dating the killer, it also called the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office and told them the exact same thing. Like I said, they were still dating at this time, but she didn't mention anything about the cause. To her, the sketch looked like Bundy, the car was Bundy's. The murders following him around was too much of a coincidence. Bundy then started killing in Colorado. Not really much changed. Death by blunt force trauma, sometimes strangulation, bodies dumped, mutilated, sometimes wearing clothes that weren't theirs. 1975 had then came to an end. There were more victims, some whose bodies were never found. 1976 was another bloody year. Police discovered a new toy, a computer, and a database. Found out that they can put in info about the murder, compare that to the data already in the computer system. Thousands of names were in the database, but only 25 names matched the crime. One of the names was Ted Bundy's. Moving forward to 1978, Ted Bundy was stopped by a police officer. On questioning, he kicked the cop's legs and made a run for it. The cop fired warning shots, but he kept running. The cop tackled him. Despite Bundy's best efforts, he couldn't get the gun from the cop. The cop didn't know at the time who he had in his possession. CIA's most wanted. In the car, Bundy told the cop, "I wish you had killed me." Questioning, he confessed to 30 murders. There could have been many more. January 24, 1989, age 42, Bundy took his final breaths in the electric chair. He said, "I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends. Let me know if y'all want a part 2 in the comments."